Hello and welcome back to Cascadia Inswinger. We get our second Cascadia match of the year. This time, the Seattle Sounders will be taking on the Portland Timbers down at Providence Park in Portland. The match is set up for Sunday at 7. Eddie, what are you excited about for this one?
I'm just excited to see Portland versus Seattle. I know you were really hoping to see it during the tournament. That did not happen, but we get it now. They did not make us wait too long for this matchup to happen, and I can't be more excited for it. It's going to be a pretty chippy matchup, I think.
And there is all sorts of buildup to make this such an intense matchup. The last time Seattle played Portland was down in Portland on August 23rd of last year, and Seattle was walking off their field holding the Cascadia Cup. Then Seattle went and won MLS Cup. Then Portland went and won the MLS's back tournament. So these two teams have so much in their trophy case, so much they've already won, and now they get to face each other. It's going to be chippy. It's going to be, even though there's no Cascadia Cup being awarded this year, I expect there to be quite a few yellow cards, maybe even a red in this one, but I know this game is going to be intense.
I feel like you always have to expect at least a red card when these two teams match up with each other. There are some players that will be maybe out of this game. Darren Asprilla is listed as out with a left knee injury. Questionable is Zuprich for personal reasons, so he might still be in the game. On the Sounders side, Xavier Arriaga is out with a right quad strain, and that's really all I can think of for that is big for the Sounders. But O'Neill will be taking over for Arriaga in the back. With how much we've talked about the Sounders' defense, what do you think about that?
I think it's a disaster. I think it's absolutely a mess, especially going against Blanco and Valeri. You do not want your defense to be anything less than 100% going into this game. Now, some would argue that Arriaga was not 100%, so like he wasn't playing at 100% with all his snafus. So O'Neill or Arriaga, it doesn't matter. The Sounders were in trouble either way. And I partially agree with that, but you still want your player you signed to be that star in the back to play, whether he's not playing well or not. I would still prefer him over journeyman O'Neill.
I almost think that Sounders would have been probably better off at putting Svensson at center back instead of O'Neill, as he has spent some time at center back, and O'Neill hasn't really proven himself as a great center back for the Sounders, and that could definitely bode well for the Timbers, who went unbeaten in all 7 games in the MIP tournament. Is there a way that the Sounders can get a win out of this and break Portland's unbeaten streak?
Well, if Zuprich doesn't play, technically Portland is playing without one of their 2 starting center backs as well. That being said, Bill Tuoloma steps in his place, and he is very skilled and actually has started several games for the Timbers in the past. So it's not quite the drop-off that you get from Arriaga to O'Neill. But Zuprich did score a goal in that final. So he can win set pieces, and he scored in that big game. They will have Mabiala, who scored the other goal in that game, playing. But if you look at this Portland lineup, it's what they put out all tournament. And it's what they destroyed teams like Seattle with all tournament. So it's hard for me to see Seattle walking out of this game with a victory, especially with Ibobasi. I think he's going to be a future star of this league. And my current projections has him starting over their DP New Zealander, Nizgoda. Or no, Polish player, Nizgoda. So with that happening, Portland's just so tough. And if Abobasi isn't having a good game, they bring Nizgoda off the bench. I'm a huge fan of Nizgoda because he scored a few goals in the tournament as well. Just too many pieces on this Portland Timbers squad.
That's why I was bringing up the Sounders defense over the over Zuprich being out, because I didn't feel like it was that big of a deal really for Portland losing Zuprich if he doesn't play in this match. And I agree, it's going to be definitely a very difficult match for the Sounders to get a win in this. I don't think they will get a win in this. They'll be lucky, I feel, to get a draw. Sounders do still have good attacking with Rui Diaz, Jordan Morris, Ladero, Roldan. While Paulo is actually listed as a projected starter in this one, which is actually a really big deal coming into this match.
Yes, Paulo is my X factor for this Sounders squad. For them to upset the MLS's back champs, he's going to have to make this team more concise in the back, play more accurately, give them that outlet, all of those things. So he would be the reason that this Sounders squad looks totally different than what we saw against LAFC. Now, I want to feed off the fact that this is a rivalry game and anything can happen in a rivalry game. And proof of that was earlier today, I watched LA Galaxy, which got completely destroyed by LAFC down in Orlando, go into LAFC Stadium and beat them 2-0 today. So if there's any proof that anything can happen in these games, that was it. So you definitely cannot count the Sounders out, even though the Timbers have all the momentum going their way.
I completely agree. I do think, though, that Portland will get a couple goals in this one. I think Portland will at least get 2. And I think Valeri's going to have something to do with both of those goals, as he is going to be roaming the center of the field. I'm also going to think that Bobasi is going to get a goal in this one. For my prediction in this one, I'm going to say it's going to be a 2-2 draw.
2-2 draw. I would love for this to be a 6-7 goal thriller.
It really could.
it truly could. Both teams missing pieces in the back. Both teams having something to prove, because Portland won the MLS's back tournament, but they know that Seattle just won MLS Cup. So I'm saying a 7-goal thriller. I'm going bold. I'm going big.
Ow.
I'm going 4-3 Portland, and it's going to be a heartbreaker. It's going to be a goal in the last 7 to 8 minutes of the game to win it for Portland. It's going to be a good one. It's going to be one for the ages.
You want to see someone cry.
I want to see them end rivalry week, because you had LA versus LA, New York versus New York earlier this week. All these teams playing their rivals. I want this to just cement the fact that we are the best rivalry in MLS.
That is for sure. Seattle versus Portland is the best rivalry in MLS. We are still waiting for Vancouver to get into the mix on this. We really want to start talking Vancouver with this whole rivalry. But right now, Portland versus Seattle is right now the best rivalry in MLS, and we definitely in Cascadia got to show that.
Yes, we got to get fan predictions on this one. Any of our fans who listen to our show, please comment in our comment section. I want to know what you think. It would be an epic battle between our Timbers fans and our Sounders fans. This is an exciting game.
So that's going to be our show. It's going to be a fun one. So stay tuned for this matchup. And as always, we're going both ways, but go Cascadia.